Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crookie Books. I'm Cole Crookie. I'm here with Mike Cahoon. I hope I said that right.
Yep,
Um,
you got it right.
yeah, we're here for a discussion on just the writing process, writing advice for indie authors, and some cool book talk. We'll get into it. But Mike, first of all, thank you for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, awesome. First of all, tell people where they can find you on socials and also your book because you are an indie author and you've created an awesome novel. Hopefully, I haven't read it yet, but tell us where they can
Yeah, that's
find
all
you.
right. So I'm Mike Cahoon, author on basically every social media. I'm on basically every social media now, kind of against my will, but that's just how it has to be as an indie author.
Yeah,
um, but no, I have a website, mikecahoon.com. And then my book is, well, I have two books out now. I have The Scion Conspiracy, which is this one.
awesome,
And then I have a prequel novella, which is The Coldwater Job, which is this one.
cool.
So yeah. And those are available. Actually, they're both wide, so you can buy them on Amazon, but you can also buy them on any book retailer, pretty much everywhere. You can even buy them off my website. So
Okay,
yeah.
awesome. When was the first one published, Mike?
October 1st of last year, 2025.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is perfect because my next question, to kind of start us off here, is why do you think it is important to write a story? And personally for you, why was it important that you wrote these two books? What kind of inspired you to do it?
Well, so I've always loved reading. I've been a huge reader since I was a kid. And I'm sure that's the way a lot of authors are. You get into storytelling and you get into writing or reading as a young person. At least for me, I was introduced to it by like my dad, and I, really developed a big love of like fantasy and sci-fi and all that kind of stuff. And then it's kind of been one of those hobbies that's just stuck with me my whole life. And as a kid, I liked the idea of writing, and I started to write stuff, and that's really the only thing I was good at in school was English and stuff. Um, but at a certain point, I didn't actually start truly taking the writing thing seriously until I was in my early 30s. I'm in my like mid 30s now. But when I had my first, we had our first kid. I kind of was like, well, I've always in the back of my mind wanted to like write a book, and I've always thought this would be a really cool thing to do. And I was like, this is kind of I don't want to wait until I'm 80 and be like, oh, I never wrote that book,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
So I figured I'd start now, and at the very least, I can always. I thought it was cool that I could tell my kids I gave it a shot. You know what I mean? I really
yeah.
tried. So
No, exactly. Question for you. So, throughout the writing process, what have you learned like along the way? Because obviously, there's trial and error through a lot of it. But personally, whether it's getting motivated on something or you figured out something along the way, what did you learn during this writing process?
well, I think a lot of so there's two aspects to it, right? There's the writing side and what you learned about writing, and then there's the publishing side and what you learned about being an author, the business of being an author.
Yeah,
In terms of writing, I mean, I think the biggest thing you learn about writing from writing a book is that it is, you know, maybe 5% inspiration, and then the rest of it is work, right? It
yeah,
can be fun work, but you have to sit to put out a book, like to really write something, you have to be willing to put in the hours and really put in the time and the effort. It's not just people have this vision of writing of novelists as people who just get struck by inspiration and they just write this book down.
yeah,
It really comes down to being, showing up every day and kind of making it a habit of writing and really committing to it, committing to the project of it.
yeah,
So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned is that if you want to, like, I'm working on the sequel to The Silent Conspiracy now, and the biggest thing is just showing up. The only thing that
yeah,
someone said it, but someone said the only thing that writes a book is time.
yeah.
And I think I think that's one of the most important things you learn when you write your first book, because
Okay.
there's the first draft, and then there's the editing, and there's all the other stuff that goes into it. So
Yeah. Okay, that's perfect because one of the questions I wrote down was in a world full of distractions, social media, everything vying for your attention, how do you focus on your craft, like on writing? For you, is it just I don't know. Do you have a process that you do every day and stay consistent with, or what is it for you?
Well, I have two little kids, so I do not have the best routine.
Yeah.
It's kind of fit it in wherever you can fit it in,
Cool.
but but no, I mean it really comes down to choosing to write over a lot of other things. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, you're tired at the end of the day and you just kind of want to sit and chill. And it's like you could watch TV for an hour or you could work on your book for an hour,
Yeah.
or if you have a few hours to yourself on a certain day, on a given morning or something, or before everybody wakes up. And it's like, the only way you're ever going to write your book is if you choose to do that.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of prioritizing is what it comes down
Okay.
to, you know?
Um, do you ever go to books that you've enjoyed in the past to get writing inspiration, or do things kind of come organically for you in terms of like ideas, character ideas, arcs? Do you go back and read books to like, I don't know, inspire that journey, or how was it for you?
Well, I'm always reading and always consuming different kinds of media, but I mean, I think creating something is it's an amalgamation of a bunch of different things. It's your personal experiences mixed with what you consume,
Yeah,
right? So, like, you know, I've read a ton of books, and if you read my books, you can definitely see that there's influences from classic fantasy, modern fantasy, all sorts of things. But I mean, there's also a lot of my personal, worldviews and experiences and things that I think are mixed in there. And that's what creates
yeah,
kind of a unique project, right? As opposed to just, there's a difference between being inspired by something or taking some sort of inspiration or something and then, uh, just rewriting it. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
And yeah.
A big example for me is, have you read Sun Eater at all?
Yes. Yes.
Um,
I finished Sun Eater last,
oh
no,
wow.
was it this year? When did the last one come out? Was it this year? Was it last year?
I think it was. It might have been November of last year,
Okay. I
maybe.
know I finished it like I caught up with the series, and when the last one came out, I finished it like the month it came out.
Okay, that's
So,
awesome. I wasn't caught up then. I finished in January. Amazing, by the
okay.
way. It's on my wall right there.
Oh
But
yeah, dude, I love Sun Eater. It's
yeah,
so good.
no, exactly.
I
But I haven't even read Dune, but I know that the first part is kind of Dune-ish, but then it
right.
goes into its own thing, and I think that's like you said, a lot of books. I mean,
Yeah.
especially book ones. It's just like you see their inspirations on the page, but then it kind of turns into something else. Same thing with. Have you read um, Of Blood and Fire, Ryan Coogler?
Yes. Yeah, I was actually just gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I felt that in the first book, but now I'm like midway through Of Darkness and Lights, or literally right here, and it's branching off. Like it's a totally
right.
different thing, which is very cool.
Well, same with I mean, honestly, if you're a big reader, right, you see this all the time.
Yeah,
And you see it in TV, you see it in movies. It's like the more you consume, the more you realize that everything is kind of inspired by everything that came before it.
yeah,
And like Red Rising is a super popular series. And the first book, I mean, it's very obviously inspired by things like Hunger Games, which was very obviously inspired by things like Battle Royale from Japan. And like you can just keep going back and back and back.
yeah,
And it's one of those things where it's like I think, you talk about advice for like newer authors. I think a lot of people get too caught up in the idea of coming up with something wholly original. Whereas like the originality comes from you and your voice and what you put into the story more so than like coming up with a totally unique premise that nobody's ever done before, because that's kind of an impossible task,
yeah.
you know?
No, 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 I don't know where I heard this, but um, I think the exercise was like think of a try to create like a new animal or something like that. And most of the, when you draw that picture, it's gonna have pieces of animals you already know. I mean, it's the
Right.
same thing for when you're creating anything really. So I thought that was cool. Um, Specific writing question for you: are you a heavy outliner when you do these books?
I like to say I aspire to be an outliner, to be, what they call a plotter.
Yeah,
But I have tried to outline my books, and what ends up happening is when I get to the a couple of chapters in, I start having to throw the outline out and start over, and like start to go in different directions because, I feel like I'm a very character first writer, and I kind of let the characters go where they need to go.
yeah,
And I more of have what you might call signposts or like markers that I'm trying to get to. So like I know that this needs to happen at some point in the story. And I
Okay.
know that this needs to happen for this character at some point in the story, but less so there's less of a direct line to get there and more of like just kind of figuring out naturally where it goes.
Okay. Awesome. What was the most difficult part of the writing process for you? Anything come to mind?
I would say the most difficult part of the process was getting through the first draft. For the first book, it was getting through the first draft of the first book
Yeah.
because it's something. So for me, I'm a big like I like to start new projects. I got a little bit of like ADD going on with that. If you ever got to look at my computer, I've got like 20 started novels that have anywhere between 1 and 10 15 chapters in and then just never finished them.
Oh
So
wow. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So sticking to one book and actually finishing it, because once you finish it and it's done, you can go back and you can refine it and change it, but it's just getting over that hump of finishing one project and being done with it.
Yeah.
That was challenging for me personally.
Okay. I will go on the other side of this, but
Hmm.
what's something in your writing that you're proud of? Was it the characters that you said?
Yeah, I would say probably the thing that I'm the most proud of with my work is like my characters.
Yeah.
I feel like are very, they feel like real people. They have interesting motivations. When you read them, they don't feel so much like stock characters as
Okay.
much as they feel like people that are in positions and reacting to those positions in a way that someone would like naturally, not because the
Yeah.
story demands it, you know?
Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm reading of Blood and Fire, or now of Darkness and Light. And my favorite part about it is it's not even the action. It's when like these two characters or three characters are sitting in an inn just talking. Like I
Right.
feel like the dialogue is done so well.
Yeah.
So I love character work like that, where you put people in a scene, and like you said, you kind of let the characters do the work for you.
Right.
Obviously, easier said than done for writing it, but yeah, that's my favorite part by far.
Well, I think, and that's, when you want to talk about fantasy, for instance, specifically, I think that's one of the things that makes modern fantasy so appealing is the heavier focus on, more so than traditional fantasy, is
Yeah,
the heavy focus on character work and like, making your characters feel fleshed out and like real people and having realistic motivations, feeling, kind of exploring what they've been through as well.
yeah,
I think all of those are really they really have brought the fantasy genre into a more modern feeling, like wider appeal. Whereas, I don't know if you've read a lot of like classical fantasy,
I
but
haven't. I mean, the only classical fantasy I've read is Lord of the Rings. If you would call
right.
that, classic fantasy.
Which
Um,
I love Lord of the Rings, and I mean it's obviously foundational and fantastic, but it's definitely more focused on the world building and like kind of the language that's very detailed and descriptive and gets into like long flowery things, and
yeah,
it's great and I love it, but that's what I grew up on, but it definitely has a different feel than what you see coming out today.
yeah. No, I feel like the stuff today. I mean, even Sun Eater and Red Rising. It's just like it's so character focused.
Right.
What is some of your favorite books that you've read?
Well, recently Sun Eater is one of my favorite series that I've read.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm a big fan of Joe Abercrombie's work and
Okay.
basically all of his books.
Yeah.
Um, I really like we're talking about modern fantasy. I think he's done some of the best character work of any author in the past, like, recent memory.
Yeah.
Um, I love I've always said, Joe Abercrombie could write a book about three guys like playing cards, and it's like the whole book, and it would be one of the best books of the year, probably.
Okay.
The character work is so good.
This is
I'm a
awesome
bit
because I love books like that. So awesome.
I'm a big fan of actually I'm a big fan of Stephen King.
Okay.
I really liked the Dark Tower series.
Okay.
And for another, he's a very character focused writer, and he does a really good job of making his characters feel like real people And I mean, his books can be really long and kind of like meandering. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong;
yeah.
like he has his detractors for sure. But if you've ever read The Dark Tower or like The Stand or 11/22/63, all of those they're like amazing books, and they're so interesting to read.
Yeah, I have I have 11/22/63 on my shelf. I actually have not read a Stephen King novel.
Oh wow.
I've started it.
Hmm.
I got like 300 pages in, and I didn't hate it. I just like I put it down, and then read
He's
something
a
else. But
he's a very wordy writer,
yeah,
that like a lot of especially something like it's like a lot of subplots and going off on side characters and things like that. And the
yeah,
style definitely doesn't mesh with everybody. My brother, who's a huge reader, he's not a big Stephen King fan,
yeah.
which is funny. But no, yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot of great books. I've read so many.
What is your wait? I know I kind of already asked, but do you have like a number one for books?
If I had to pick one, if I had to pick one series, it would be The Dark Tower, I would
Okay,
think.
okay,
Because for one, I like Stephen King's writing, but also it's a genre blendy
yeah,
kind of story,
yeah,
and it blends elements of fantasy and sci-fi and horror and western and all these different things. And it's so like when you read fantasy, you kind of get into that mode of swords and sorcery and all that,
yeah.
and it really like challenges what you think fantasy can be you
Cool.
know so I would have to say that if I had to pick one series.
Yeah,
um
that's awesome.
but there's so many, it's so
I
hard.
know, I know. It's a hard question. It's a hard question.
Yeah.
You would love, after hearing you describe that, The Failures by Benjamin Lyer. Have you heard of it?
I've never heard of that one.
It's a big genre mashup like you're talking about.
Hmm.
Like it got sold to me as a fantasy sci-fi. It's right there with my thumb. Um, but it should be like way more highly rated than it is. It's so good. Just check out like the
Okay.
description of it.
Yeah.
It's really hard to elevator pitch. I was about to do it, but like there's just so much to it, and it's again like you said, genre mashup. So after this,
Yeah.
check it out and see if
No,
you
I'll definitely check it out.
yeah,
That sounds awesome.
yeah, it's
um
great.
God, there's so many good ones though. I was gonna say Sun Eater is definitely up there now
Yeah,
since finishing the series. I'm a big fan of, I don't know if you know who Tad Williams is.
I do. I want to get into him. I want to get into him.
Tad Williams is known as like the bridge between classic fantasy and modern fantasy,
Okay.
because he still has that like very detailed writing and very heavy world building, but it's also darker, more character focused. So it's kind of like a mix of the two.
Okay.
And it's a really good series if you want to read like if you want to see the transition
Okay.
from like classical fantasy to modern fantasy.
Yeah. No, I would love that because
Yeah.
his I saw like art or something on Instagram for one of his books, and I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, like this looks great. I might
Yeah.
get
It's
this.
great. It's a really good series. He has a really good series. A couple of really good series actually.
Yeah.
Because he has Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, which is his like big fantasy one, and but then he also has like Otherland, which is kind of like a sci-fi sort of thing, and then he has another one called Bobby Dollar, which is like urban fantasy.
Yeah.
So,
What is your favorite Sun Eater?
so that is a hard one, but so I'm a really big fan of the second book,
Okay.
and then I'm a really big fan of the sixth book.
Yep. Okay.
Um, and I'm a fan of both of those books for the same reason, which is that they change the dynamic of what you think is happening in the story like very heavily both
Mhm.
times. With uh God, what's the now I'm totally blanking on the name. The guy who has his own planet, he has the 1,000 eyes or whatever his name
Oh,
is. God, I don't know why I can't remember it now.
and now you're making me
Uh
not remember it either.
I know, I
I'm
know.
ashamed. I'm ashamed.
But no, I was gonna say everything that happened on that planet with that character was incredible, and it was like super well done, and I really enjoyed it. I really like how it changed everything with with the direction I thought the series was gonna go in,
Yeah.
right? And then again with the sixth book, kind of the same thing with the quiet and everything that happened, and to me, again, it was like he took everything that was happening in the series and he kind of twisted it in a way that you didn't expect,
Yeah,
you know? And it really, I really admire that with authors who are willing to like, mid-series, mid whatever, kind of change it up,
yeah.
and really go in a new direction or like not follow what you expect to happen.
Okay.
So,
No, I love that. Mine is the third one, Demon in
okay.
White.
Oh
Just
yeah, Demon
because,
and White's great.
yeah, I mean, just everything comes together in that book for me, and I love political intrigue. So like him just being there
Yeah.
and in front of all the nobles and it's great. That I mean, they're so good. All of them are so good. I even like the first one more than I think most people. Like,
It's funny. I like the first one too, and I will say it's the weakest of all of them,
yeah,
but I don't think it deserves the hate that it gets in terms of people saying like it's not that great of a book or you just have to push through it. I thought it was a good book. Like I liked it a lot. I mean, I liked it enough to read Howling Dark. You
no,
know what I mean? I will say I think Christopher Ruccio, he did Star Wars like better than modern Star Wars has done it than any of the
that's a
modern
great
Star
way
Wars
to
movies.
describe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Karn Sagara.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Thank
Okay, I
you.
got it. I
Yes, the
got it.
Consagar. I don't know why I couldn't remember that name. Consagar is like one of, if not my favorite character in the whole series.
Yeah, I he does those types of characters really great, and it's the same thing with him. That it's also with Emperor William. Like
Yeah.
when Hadrian gets in a room with those two,
Mhm.
you almost feel like outclassed, and like Hadrian doesn't get outclassed when he's like talking to
Yeah.
people, and like they hold weight when they're like saying this stuff, and like I'm like, whoa, how do you do that like on a page? It's kind of crazy.
I agree 100%. And I think Emperor William is actually a really good example of what I was saying with like I think he does a really good job of not playing into kind of what you expect out of Emperor William.
Yeah,
Like you think like if you read sci-fi and you read genre fiction, you kind of always expect the emperor to be this like corrupt bad guy or like secret like turn out to at the end be a bad guy,
yeah,
but he's not, and it's great. Spoilers for Sonny here.
yeah,
So, but no, yeah, no, he's great, he's such a more interesting character for the fact that he doesn't play into those kind of established tropes,
yeah.
you know.
No, exactly. Okay, I'm going to switch up the topics if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure,
I want to talk a little bit about community and some of the stuff you're
absolutely.
doing. So first of all, I had a talk with PL. Do you know PL? Have you ever
Yeah,
you talked to PL?
yeah,
Okay. How did you meet PL?
just through social media.
Okay. Awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw him on a video with Philip Chase, and I was like, this guy just radiates positivity, and like I want to
Oh
be
yeah,
around people that do that. And I was like, I
yeah.
need to talk to him. He seems like a great mind. Um,
Yeah, he's a
that's so
super cool
cool.
guy.
Yeah, so that's why I did like that video about indie books and community. But I'll ask you a similar question here. How important is community for you, like in this writing journey? How has it affected the journey, like with other writers, with other readers? Kind of dig into that, I guess.
So, and this is one of the big things, like you were talking about lessons that you've learned or things that you've learned about writing at the beginning, right? Community in the indie writing space is one of the most important things that you're going to have to figure out
Yeah,
because you're entering a space where there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. You know what I mean? Like trying to. Everyone has a book. They want to sell it. They're talking about it. People are reviewing books,
yeah,
and you really it can be kind of a intimidating space,
yeah,
right? But it's also a very welcoming space if you try to if you actually participate in it and
yeah,
you actually like try to be part of it and you help you promote other people's books and you kind of get into talking about things with people like we're doing right now. You
yeah,
talk about books and you approach it like it's a real community and you're
yeah,
not just in there like, hey, buy my book.
yeah, yeah,
But no, it's huge. It makes all the difference in the world. I mean, most of my sales and most of my successes come through social media, and by social media I mean the community I found through social media.
yeah.
you know
When
um
you wrote the book, book one, did you have
yeah.
social media at that point?
So it's funny. I didn't know anything about Book Talk, Bookstagram, any of that stuff. I was on Instagram and I was on Facebook, but I was never ever like I didn't wasn't in any of the book spaces, and I logged into them like once a week, twice a week. You know, I would check them once in a while, and I didn't know anything about any of this stuff. And then I created an author Instagram and an author Facebook and stuff like that, like maybe a month before I launched my first book.
Okay.
And everything has kind of rolled from there.
Right.
Um, I wish I had known about it beforehand, because you know I came on and I was like starting from zero, and my book launched and I barely knew anybody in the space. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
it was definitely an interesting ride, but it's been cool. Like I
So
said, I met a lot of cool people and I've had a lot of really good experiences.
yeah. Um, Question. So how have you seen the most success for your book sales? Is it like you said, social media? Is it just posting, or is it kind of reaching out like this and setting up time to talk? Like how has that gone?
So I think a big part of it, I think it's kind of a twofold aspect. It's people find out about your books through being out in the space, right?
Yeah.
So participating, being in social media, things like that. But you kind of separate yourself by getting involved, doing things like this,
Yeah.
you know, talking. Like I just started with working with FanFi Addict,
Okay. I was
the
about to ask
blog.
about that too.
Yeah, and then I have a podcast, Pen and Dragon, that I do with a couple of my author friends,
Yep.
and those sorts of things, being on other people's podcasts, doing that, that helps you become more of a person in
Yeah.
the eyes of everybody. Stand out
Yeah.
from the, like I said, the hundreds and hundreds of people that are just on there posting. I mean, some people post an ad every day about
I
their
know.
book, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, if you see dozens and dozens and dozens of ads for books, what makes your book stand out from the other ones?
Yeah.
Right? It's really you. You're what people are buying.
Yeah.
Is they want to support you, not so much. I mean, you have to have a book that people want to read too.
True.
But
Yeah. But I mean, this is the first step. It's um
right,
cuz like I'll get DMs that are totally different from how you DM me. It's like,
right,
"Hey, read this now in exchange for a review." It's like, "Whoa, like I don't know you." Like I mean,
right.
like this is so much better cuz I get to see the human. So the human aspect of it, like you said, I think is huge.
Yeah,
Same reason why I bought Peel's book. It's like I might at least just try. Like these are
right.
cool humans, intelligent humans. Like I want to go just try their book. So I think, I mean, that's a huge part of it.
Well, I've said this before on a different podcast, but people when people talk about books, right? They talk about needing a good blurb, a good cover, well edited, all these things. For me, that's kind of the baseline,
Yeah,
right? You should, if you're showing up to sell a book to someone and you're asking for money in exchange for your work, like
yeah,
you need to show up with a good blurb, a good cover, a good story that's well edited, all those things.
yeah,
And then on top of that, you also need to have, you need something to help you stand out, or something to at least get people to identify with you to some degree, right?
yeah,
And recognize that you're a real person that they want to support.
yeah.
um
What?
yeah.
This is a little bit off track, but what was the process for doing this cover? Like, how did that go? Did that take a while to like get somebody to do it, or
So
talk to me
yeah,
about the cover process? Because I honestly don't even know how it works, to be honest.
so I my cover process was interesting because I finished the book, and at first I started querying traditionally published like agents,
Yeah,
to go that route. And I didn't know really anything about the indie space at that time, so I was just sending out query letters, and not really even looking at doing a cover or anything. So for the first 3 or 4 months after I finished my book, I didn't even think about making my own cover, because I was like, oh, the agency handles that.
okay, yeah,
And then or the publisher handles that. And then so when I when I got when I finally decided I was going to indie publish my book, then I started looking at cover artists, and I had reached out to a few, and for various reasons, some were really, really expensive, some were just like, it was hard to find someone who wanted to do something the style that I wanted to do.
yeah,
and I'd hired one person, and it didn't really work out, just because they ended up like dropping the project because they had too much other stuff going on.
Okay.
But that was like a month of time where like I thought they were gonna do it, and then they just messaged me and said, "Hey, I can't do it." And so then I was looking around on like Reddit and some other places trying to find artists, and I just happened to see my artist is her name is Holly Lowe,
Okay.
and someone had done her cover through her recently, and they had just they recommended her. They put her name out there as like a good cover artist, and yeah, I just DM'd her kind of out of out of the blue, and just said, "Hey, are you free to do a cover?" And I told her what I was wanted to do, and that's how it worked. You kind of have to just go out and look,
Nice.
you know.
Did it take iterations, or you just saw it and you're like, okay, this is it?
So it was she got the basic cover design down really fast.
Mm-hmm.
There was a few little things that we had to go back and forth about,
Yeah.
but I mean, for the most part, I mean, the general cover design is almost exactly what you see now.
Okay.
There was like a couple of little things like, she had some other things in there that I took out, and I changed it. I asked her to change a couple things, but for the most part, it was great. It was almost exactly what I described. But I told her exactly what I wanted. I had a really like clear picture of what I wanted the cover to be, because it's a scene from the book,
Okay.
right? Yeah,
Okay.
more or
Awesome. And
less.
you would classify this as a, you said grimdark fantasy?
I would say yeah, like dark fantasy, grim dark fantasy.
Okay.
Uh Kind of like grimdark epic, because it's when you look at grimdark, the reason I always kind of hesitate a little bit with grimdark is a lot of grimdark stories are very small, like small focused. They tend to be, some of them tend to be smaller,
Yeah.
but this is a grimdark, but like on a more epic scale.
Okay.
It's kind of like worldwide, the way a classical epic fantasy would be.
Okay. Does it
Yeah.
take inspiration from First Law at all?
Uh, I would say a little bit. If I had to describe it, I would say it's kind of like Game of Thrones,
Okay.
set during like a Age of Exploration.
Okay.
So instead of more of like the medieval Europe flavor that you get from something like Game of Thrones, it's more
Yeah.
of like set during that period when like during the colonization of like the United States. Think about like
Okay.
that time frame,
That's
you
very
know?
cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and I forgot to do this. Could you give? I mean, you gave a little bit, but could you give like an elevator pitch of your book?
Yeah. So my series is called The Crucible of Legacy,
Okay.
and it's the first book is called The Sign Conspiracy, and it's a dark fantasy epic. It starts off with a kind of brazen heist that takes place, and it
Okay.
where they break into this massively secure fortress sort of city,
Yeah.
and that sets off this whole sequence of events where people realize that there are gifted children being kind of abducted all over the continent, and that there's some sort of shadowy conspiracy going on, and it has something to do with the new world that is
Okay.
currently in the process of being colonized and being, all these nations in the old world are fighting for control over it,
Got
basically.
it.
And yeah, so it that is the general things, and it's multi POV, so you get people who are involved with the conspiracy, you get noble people and other people who are from the old world that are trying to figure out what's going on, and how all these pieces are being moved, and what they're trying to do essentially.
That sounds great. Is it
Yeah.
first person, third person,
Third person, like I said, third person kind of multi POV.
multiple?
So
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Back to the FanFi stuff. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
really know what FanFi is. Could you fill me and anyone watching? What is FanFi? I mean, what can we go look at? I know there was a YouTube for them, I think. But yeah, tell us about how you got
So
involved with that.
yeah, so FanFi Addict is, I mean, in the simplest terms, it's a book blog,
Okay.
but it's a lot more than that. They're a really big part of the community. They do book reviews, they do author interviews, they do just standalone articles, but they have a podcast called SFF
Okay.
Addicts, and it's a really big podcast. They do TBRCon, which just wrapped up, which is a digital
I saw.
convention.
Yeah, I saw one or two of those. I think. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And so they have panels with indie authors and big name authors. They do a bunch of interviews with bigger authors and indie authors all over the place.
Yeah,
They're involved in a bunch of the big conventions around the world. So they do a lot in the community in the space,
yeah.
and it's a really cool organization that have there's a lot of really interesting people involved with it. So
Is I think his name's Adrian Gibson. Is he
yeah,
okay?
so
Okay,
he is one of the main people there, and he also is one of the main hosts of their podcast.
got it. Okay,
So yeah,
because I've seen a couple videos of him, and
yeah,
I would like shortly remember seeing FanFi, and I was like, okay, that's it.
yeah. No,
Uh,
he's a big figurehead there. There's MJ Kuhn and Greta Kelly. They're also hosts of the podcast. They're also big involved over there
yeah,
at FanFi. And then so because they're the podcast hosts, they tend to do a lot of the interviews and like panel discussions and moderate a lot of those kinds of things.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
So you being involved now, what does that look like? Like,
So right now I'm doing reviews.
okay,
I'm working with their blog to do reviews.
okay,
I'm gonna try to focus a lot on like indie, other indie authors and things like that. I mean, I'll do traditional reviews too, but
awesome.
traditionally published reviews. But yeah, I'm gonna try to focus on doing a lot of indie authors.
Okay,
Help some of my fellow indie authors out here in the trenches out.
yeah, no, exactly. So you get to pick kind of what
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
reading
yeah,
and
yeah.
reviewing.
No, they're super chill. They kind of just throw out from what I've seen so far. They just kind of throw out any review requests that come in, but you can kind of choose what you want to review. And if you want to review things that you know, aren't aren't supplied by them, I think it seems like you're kind of free to just do that too.
Okay,
So
yeah, no, I need to subscribe to them on YouTube.
no, yeah, definitely. They put
Yeah.
out a lot of really cool content. So
Okay. Also, talk about the podcast. What is it called? Pendragon, right?
Pen and Dragon.
Pen and
It's
Dragon.
a
Okay.
it's a play on Pendragon from Arthur legend or
Yeah,
whatever.
love it.
But yeah, no man, I do that with my two co-hosts, Timothy Robert and Isaac Anderson. We're all indie authors, indie fantasy authors at that. So
Yeah.
yeah, we started the podcast. It's been several months now.
Okay.
Um, and it's great, man. Yeah, we talk about kind of a little bit of everything. What's going on in the fantasy in the indie world, what's going on in like pop culture with fantasy, and then we do interviews with different authors and different stuff and things like that, and
Hmm.
cover ratings, just kind of whatever we feel like doing,
Yeah.
you know.
How did you meet them? Was it social media?
So yeah, I met both of those guys through social media. Isaac actually has another podcast that he does, all caps, and it's a more traditional author interview show.
Yeah.
And I was on that show actually, as a matter of fact,
Okay.
and he very graciously asked me to be on it. And funnily enough, I was on it with Tim, who I knew through kind of like an online author Discord kind of group,
Yeah.
where we kind of do like critiques and stuff back and forth. So I knew him through that,
Okay.
and so we were all three of us. He had both of us on his show at the same time,
Yeah.
and it kind of a couple, I guess, maybe a month after that, I think it was, him and Tim, I guess, had been talking about doing a show that was more focused on current topics and just other stuff besides just an straight interview show.
Yeah.
And that's how that kind of came out.
Yeah. How has it been like? I guess work wise, running a podcast. Is it a lot of work to get all this stuff out?
Well, having three people helps.
Yeah.
Because you have three people to, I mean, social media is its own beast entirely,
Yeah.
and having three people to kind of manage that, and then having Isaac does a lot of the tech stuff. He's already very familiar with how to edit and things like that, so he does a lot of that. And then like I said, having three people helps a lot, because
Yeah.
one of us will post on social media, one of us will kind of come up with the topics, one of us will reach out to like guests,
Okay.
and it really helps make it easier for us, because
Yeah.
if I was doing all this by myself, it would be a lot.
Yeah. No, people massively underrate like how hard it is. especially to be consistent at a
Right.
podcast. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, especially if you do it in person, like gathering all the gear and stuff. Like this is a bit
Yeah.
easier because we got our home gear. But I mean, wow,
Yeah.
like it's a lot of work.
It is, and it's funny. I'm really grateful that I was able to start doing this podcast with, two other friends of mine, because I had considered doing something like that just as kind of a way, again, to get out in the community and do that. But then when I looked at how much work it was and how much time it would take, I was like, God, I don't have the time for this.
Yeah,
I work full time. I've got two kids,
yeah,
so getting the opportunity to do it as part of a group definitely makes things easier, and has been a really fortunate way to do things
yeah. No,
for me.
exactly. Okay, speaking of finding time to do stuff, when do you usually find time to read? Like, do you have a kind of
Oof.
time that you usually
Uh,
do?
Whenever I can fit it in
Okay,
is the
okay,
true answer.
got it.
I try to read. I try to read before bed. I try to read when I try to carry around an ebook. I have a Kobo, and I also have a Kindle as well.
Okay,
So like I try to carry one of them around when I'm doing errands and stuff, so that if I'm sitting around, I don't scroll and I spend more time reading.
yeah.
It has been marginally successful.
Okay.
You know, the phone is a terrible burden as much as it is a boon. You know.
Yeah. No, that's
um,
so that's exactly it's funny you say that because um like I've just been anxious about like how much I just do this. And it's like
yeah.
it gets to be so much, and especially if I want reading to be like a priority, it's really bad for you know choosing the phone. Um
Yeah.
so I'm trying to work on that. Exactly. I mean, like a lot of others probably, but
I've been really tempted to get, have you seen that thing where it's like the mini e-reader that goes on like the back of your phone?
I've seen something like that. What's it called? Do you know?
I don't, it's like an XT Inc. or something. I know it's like some smaller company. I know like the big companies like Amazon and stuff don't have their own version of it yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're working on it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I know it's some small company, and they put out, it's basically just reading. It can't do anything else.
Okay.
And I'm so tempted to get one of those, because I'm like, I wonder if that would make me more inclined to like turn my phone over and start reading, you know?
Yeah. For me it's hard because like I have a Kindle, but I just much prefer physical. So it's like it's hard for me. Um so when I read, I literally like throw my phone across the room because otherwise it's just there, and I pick it up um like right away. So I try to leave the room or do whatever. But again,
Yeah.
it's hard, so
It's very hard. It's a struggle. And it's funny, I prefer physical books as well,
yeah.
but I find that I end up listening to audiobooks or reading ebooks more because of the convenience
Yeah.
of like, you know, I can fit my Kindle in my pocket.
Yeah.
Well,
Same.
in my in a like a cargo pocket.
Yeah.
But or like in my backpack really easily, or something like that if I'm like at work. So it's something I can just pull out really fast. Whereas like a physical book is a little bit bigger. Gets messed up if you're just like carrying it around all day.
Yeah.
So that helps. Um it's not quite enough to beat the phone 100% of the time, but
Yeah.
I'm working on it. I'll figure out a solution one of these days.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know.
Yeah.
Cause I used my Kindle at the beach, and that was actually great. I just
Yeah.
felt like, yeah, you could literally hold it with one hand. I actually could fit it in my pocket, and I just shortened
Yeah.
it. So, it was great. Like, and that was my first time, I think, reading a Kindle book. I read Hyperion.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Hyperion's the best. Hyperion's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was good. But yeah, I read it on Kindle for the first time.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of ebooks just because of the efficiency of them. They're so fast to get, and it's
Yeah,
easy, and it's cheap. Once you have a Kindle, and I mean, people are getting rid of Kindles all the time.
yeah,
I mean, I see, people being like, "Oh, I just got the new one. I'm getting rid of this one." You see them on Facebook Marketplace for $20. You know,
yeah,
so it's like I'm a big proponent of them just because if you're trying to get into reading, or you're trying to read more, I mean, it's a really easy solution.
yeah. No, exactly. I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
Yeah,
What
for
is
sure.
your? Do you have a favorite book cover?
Oh, let's see. That's a good
I
question.
know it's. Think about it though. I know.
Um, well, so there's kind of a couple of answers to this because, and that's not what you're asking, I know. But I mean, Hyperion, the original Hyperion cover is amazing
Yeah,
with the Shrike and whatever.
that's
Like
so cool. Yeah.
that's a great cover. But I was gonna say one thing I'm a huge fan of is old school like sword and sorcery covers,
Okay.
like the really classic 70s, 80s kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I know like they're super outdated nowadays, but when you see the guy with the the muscle dude with the big sword and the chick
Yeah.
who's like whatever, like those are fun covers, man. They're super.
Yeah.
I kind of miss those in a way, Conan and
I was
and
just
that
about
kind
to
of
say
stuff.
Conan type
Yeah,
of
but like, did you ever read Elric of Melniboné or anything like that?
no, but I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like, I love those old covers, man. They're great, and
Yeah.
I kind of miss them in a way. Dragonlance. I don't know if you ever read any of those books, but
I
like
haven't.
they kind of had not the same, but similar in that like they're very like classic D&D style fantasy. You
Yeah.
know,
What about
um,
what about Wheel of Time? Have you seen those like classic covers?
I'm not a huge fan of those, to be
Okay,
honest with you.
okay, okay.
I they're just kind of cheesy looking to me.
Okay, okay.
I don't
I was just
know.
trying to see the vibe, what we were going with. Okay.
They're not.
Got it.
They're not. They don't have enough like umph to them. You know.
Not
I
the
don't.
modern ones though. Like the you know which one I'm talking about, right? Like the original
Yeah.
one?
No, I know which ones you're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Those to me are kind of like where the fantasy covers got a little cheesy.
Okay, okay.
You know.
Got it. All right. I see what we're working with.
Yeah. But I mean, I do. There's some modern ones I really like. I really like. I mean, again, bringing up Joe Abercrombie, I love his. Have you seen his like really minimalistic covers for the first Law trilogy, where they're like white with just like the titles in color, and there's like a really simple graphic on each one?
I might have that. Wait. It's kind of hard to see, but this might be it. Is it like the
Maybe.
red first law?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay, because I haven't read it yet, and I really want to. But
Oh yeah.
yes, I know what you're talking about.
I like those. I think those are as far as modern covers goes, I think those are really cool because they're so eye-catching and they're so like you can it says a lot about the book just with the typography and with very little on the cover.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of books and other things, have you read any manga or any comics or anything like that?
So I actually do. I'm actually a big fan of not I don't read as many as I used to back in the day, but I do like comics and I do read. I don't read a lot of I haven't read a lot of manga, but I've read a good bit of comic books.
Yeah.
So
What have you read, or what do you like reading?
so I I read I've read a good bit of Captain America. I've read some Spider-Man, X-Men. Like I read all of Civil War,
Okay.
that
Nice.
comic series. I read. I'm trying to think. God, it's like I haven't read them in a while.
Yeah.
So, I do have. I read Saga. Did you ever read Saga?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. East of West. You ever heard of that one?
I so when I got into comics, it was a
Hmm.
short span of time, but like I was like, whoa, I don't know why I didn't get into comics sooner. Like when I got into it, like Absolute Batman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like that's
Hmm.
when I got into comics. When that started
Okay,
exploding,
nice.
I was like, what the heck? Like comics can do this? Like this is so cool. Like why did I not get into it sooner? But what I'm finding though is like I keep going back to the comic book store. And it's so much. Like there's just so many comics. So like I prefer, since I read stuff like this, novels,
Hmm.
to have a end or a beginning and an end. And sometimes comics you don't get that.
So
So I want to get the trades instead of like the single issues.
I was just gonna say the way I prefer to read comics now is to find the series that's finished
Yeah,
and like buy it as a full set.
yeah.
Like I really want to do that with I haven't read it, but I really want to do that with Berserk because
Okay,
it's finished and you can
yeah.
buy the full set. And I want to do that. That's like probably the next big comic series I want to tackle.
Okay. No, I've
Because
heard
everyone,
great things about Berserk.
yeah. But it's a giant series, you know. There's always
It's a giant.
everything is a giant series.
Yeah, no, that seems to be the way of fantasy and sci-fi. But
Yeah.
um,
Are you a big manga fan?
I just recently got into it.
Oh
So
yeah.
I watched. If you watch anime at all, I watched Vinland Saga,
Okay. I haven't
and
watched Vinland Saga, but everyone tells me I should watch it.
you should. It's amazing. Viking anime. I mean, what could
Yeah.
you not like? And I was like, this is gonna be the first manga I ever read. I just know it because I love the
Right.
story so much. And it's right there. Yeah.
Nice.
And so I read it, like absolutely flew through it. So I've read Vinland Saga. I would highly recommend that. Like you could even
Nice.
do that because I know Berserk is like huge. Like
Yeah.
this is doesn't take long. Like
Okay.
it's a lot, but like you could knock it out and it's really good. Um, so maybe. Anyways, and then I read Vagabond. I'm on like
Okay.
volume 5. I'm not all the way through. The thing about Vagabond, because it's that like feudal Japan type of story. It's really
Hmm.
cool, um, but it's a lot of pictures. Like there's not a lot of dialogue,
Right.
and I'm like wowed at the art. Like it's crazy. It's really cool. But I kind of like a little more dialogue. So
Yeah.
we'll see if I continue it. It's good though.
I keep saying I'm gonna get into reading manga. I've watched anime. Like I watched I grew up watching Toonami.
Okay.
So like everything there, like Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, all that stuff, you know. I
Yeah.
watched all of those and I loved those growing up. And then I've watched a few things that, like, you know, since I've been an adult. Like I watched Full Metal Alchemist,
Great.
and a couple other things like that. I'm trying to think of all the ones I've seen.
Yeah.
But it's you know, they're good. I mean, I watched some of Naruto. I watched some of One Piece. The problem with those is they're just so long. I just get eventually. I'm like, I'm just I don't have time to watch all of this.
Yeah, it's a lot. Naruto is
Yeah,
my favorite anime of all time.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
My brother is a huge anime fan, so he's watched like a lot of them, and he's
Yeah.
always telling me about ones that I should watch. He's the reason I watched Full Metal Alchemist. So,
Did you like that?
yeah, it was great. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
I
Highly
enjoyed it
recommend.
a lot. Yeah,
Um, but going back to a movie, did you see Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man?
I have not seen it yet.
Oh
Have you seen it?
gosh. Yeah, you
Was it
have to
good?
watch it.
Okay,
I'm not gonna even
nice.
really say my full thoughts, but you have to. You have
I was such a huge Marvel person all the way up through Endgame, and then
to. Yeah.
I just, you know, honestly, it coincided with around the time that, like, you know, me and my wife got married and have kids, so like I just don't have the time
Yep.
anymore. So like I usually watch a lot of stuff when it comes out on, you know, on Disney Plus, which we have so the kids can watch Disney.
Yes. Well, did
Uh,
you see No Way Home?
I did see No Way Home. No Way Home was
Okay,
good.
so you saw No Way Home. I
Yeah.
would highly recommend you see it in the theaters.
Okay.
I think you need to.
Nice.
Like
Okay.
it's required.
All
It's great. But if you somehow can't get there, it's okay. It'll be cool at the home too. But
Yeah.
um, gosh, yeah, I think you'll like it. If you like No Way Home, this one I think it's better. But
I'll have to check it out. I've heard good things.
yeah,
And I mean, you know, they've got Doomsday coming out in Christmas time.
yeah,
So I think that'll be the big make or break for Marvel movies, right?
yeah. No, I agree. And we have Dune too. And I'm gonna read Dune and Dune Messiah before.
Oh,
So I'm
are you?
excited about that because I want to read
Nice.
those because I've heard great things. So have you read
Yeah.
Dune?
I've read Dune. I have not, I think I only read the first one. I don't think I read Dune Messiah.
Okay.
I read it a long time ago. So
Did you like Dune?
yeah, Dune's great.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I've read a bunch of classic, like, have you read Ender's Game and
No,
any
but
of the
I've
Ender
heard great
series?
things.
Yeah. A lot of old sci-fi is great, man. Ender's Game, like Isaac Asimov Foundation and all that stuff is really good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good old sci-fi, dude. There's so much.
Yeah. And I'm not very versed in it either because um in 2021 I read Name of the Wind and that's how I got
Yeah.
introduced to fantasy. But then once Red Rising started booming, I saw that and I was like, whoa, like let's try this out, and it was
Yeah.
amazing. But that's like my first introduction to sci-fi, even though it's kind of fantasy in a sci-fi setting, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's still great. Um, would you count Hyperion as like classic sci-fi? Like I
Oh
guess
yeah,
First
for sure.
Contact. Okay.
Uh yeah, I mean I would say it's a very like major cornerstone of like sci-fi, of
Okay.
the sci-fi
Okay.
genre, you know.
Yeah.
Because I mean it's when they talk about best sci-fi books of all time, it's always like in the list somewhere,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah. So I guess that's my only experience really with sci-fi. Of course, Sun Eater, which has been
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. But
So question for you, what do you think? Red Rising or Sun Eater?
wow, it's so hard to compare.
Red Rising isn't finished yet, so it's hard to
I know it's very hard to compare. Um, well, right now I'd say Sun Eater, but
same. I would say right now, I mean, Pierce Brown could come out with something amazing in the last book though.
yeah,
So,
I think, and I think he could do it.
right.
But I think the bar is like really high, and I know I shouldn't be comparing them because they're totally different. But like,
Right.
um, yeah, Sun Eater's like really high up there for me, especially I guess light spoilers for anyone that hasn't read Shadows Upon Time. You have read it, right, Mike?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, the ending is like some people, it's not what you want fully. I would say.
Right.
So, like I was at first confused, and then second like reflection on it, I was like, this is amazing. Like this is
Yeah.
so good. Like what's not said is more important than what was said by Hadrian. And like to me, that he's playing like multiple games behind the scene with these POVs is so freaking cool to me. Like
Yep.
it just got me, and like I couldn't read anything else like after that, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, that was so cool.
I think so. Rocky was supposed to be putting out a fantasy series next, right? And I think if he pulls off a fantasy series that's of the same bar as Sun Eater,
Yeah,
sets the same high level of quality, I think he could be in the contender for like one of the best like current fantasy or writers of his generation. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because I
no,
mean, he's Sun Eater's so good,
it's
and
so
then you look if he can catch lightning in a bottle twice and do that again in like the fantasy genre, that would be incredible.
yeah, and I heard him say, I don't know where I saw this. He was like, I'm having as much fun as when I wrote Howling Dark,
Yeah,
and we all know what how pivotal that book was. So,
yeah, for sure.
um, and the thing about his books too is they're meant to be reread, and you can tell.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's good stories, but like it's just a whole different echelon for me. Like, because I can tell I'll go back and read this and find 80 new things that I didn't know the first time.
I, you know, so in the past like 5 or 6 years, I I've only found a couple of authors where I'm like, I read one book and I'm like, I have to read all of their books,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And Joe Abercrombie was one, but Christopher Paracchio was definitely like another one.
yeah,
And like I read all of Sun Eater super fast, and then
yeah,
read when I don't remember when the last book came out, but whenever I picked it up as soon as it came out, and then I read it really fast, even though it was a
yeah,
long ass book. I dropped everything else I was doing to read that book.
yeah,
So,
yeah. No, I'm lucky because for my sales job, I get to fly to different places, and every
oh,
time I fly,
nice.
I'm just reading. Like I
Oh,
used to be
nice.
a big movie guy on the plane, but now I'm like, I pulled out that huge Shells Upon Time like on the plane. It's ridiculous, but like I'm doing it
Yeah.
the whole time, so
Hey,
it's been great.
nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah,
Better than scrolling on your phone, right?
exactly, exactly. We put on airplane mode. Question about um, what is the series called? Bound in the Broken. Bound in the Broken.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah,
read
yeah.
all of it?
No, no, no. So I read the first two books
Okay.
and the first two novellas.
Okay. Okay. So you read
Um,
The Exile? Is that the second one?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. I'm on Of Darkness and Light. Who are your
Okay.
like favorite characters so far? If you were just in this book, if you were just to say like midway through book two or book one, who are your kind of favorite characters?
I like, is it Dane?
Yeah, Dane.
Yeah, I like
He's the
Dane
one
a
that got
lot.
introduced in this book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like
Yeah.
Dane a lot. I've read The Exile, so that's kind of cheating.
Okay, yeah, I knew that was
uh,
it was about him, so
yeah.
that makes
Um, I like Dan. I mean, I actually really like Kalen, the main
yeah,
character, a lot. I think he's what Ryan, what Ryan Cahill did, which was incredible, which was he took a really familiar premise with his first book, which like I'm not, I'm not trying to say anything bad about the first book. But it is a very like classic fantasy setup,
yep,
right?
yep,
You read it and you're kind of like, this feels a lot like the first book of Wheel of Time, which was a lot like the first, which feels a lot like a lot of books,
yeah,
Um, but then when you read Of Darkness and Light, it's a such a big shift, kind of like we were talking about with Ruckio,
yeah,
where he takes something that's you start off one way and then you shift it and you're like, wow, this is so different,
yeah,
so different than the direction in which I thought it was going to go.
yeah,
And I think that for me, I didn't love Kalen's character in the first book, but once you got to the second one, I was like, oh yeah, this is a much more interesting, much better character. You
yeah.
know?
The cool thing about these books for me too is, um, Kalen's great, but also since you get like, I mean, 20 other POVs, like
Yeah.
you see like Kalen from other people, and like that's like what's impactful to me. They're willing to fight for this guy for this reason
Yeah.
and this reason, and I'm like, okay, I'm with Kalen. Like let's do this. Like it's great.
I put on Bound and the Broken on hold for a little bit because I was reading because I was trying to get to some indie books and stuff, some other indie books.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, what is the bad character who's with, is it Barda? Who's with his sister?
Farda.
Farda.
He's my
That is a
favorite
great
already.
character.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's a great character
Okay.
too.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see more of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
No,
he's
he
basically Two Face,
yeah, exactly.
which is crazy. Like that's so cool.
But no, yeah, no, I think Bound of the Broken's great, man. I've been meaning and meaning and meaning to get back to that series, and I just keep having, in being an indie author, you get so many books to read because
Yeah.
everybody, everybody's like, "Hey, check out my book," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll check it out." And then before you know it, you have 20 books, 30 books to like get to.
I know.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah, because some people
So,
that are in my life that don't read a ton, they're like, well, "What do you mean? Like, why are you so stressed?" It's like, I mean, my TBR is like 40 books.
yeah.
Like what do I do? I don't know where to go. But I've kind of made it easier on myself this year, especially with series like this. Like I'm like, if I'm enjoying it this much, I'm just gonna read back to back to back to back because it's
Yeah.
just so good. Um, unless I need to take a break for some reason. But that's what I did with Sun Eater. I read all of them. I took a break between, I think, Kingdoms of Death. That took a lot out of me. So I was like, all right, let me take one break and then I'll get back into it. And I did. And but
Yeah.
sometimes I got to read back to back or I'll just forget. Or I don't know.
I think the binging style of reading definitely helps you move through series,
Yeah.
you know? I'm a very like ADD kind of reader. I jump all over the place, I'll
Yeah.
put down a series for like months at a time and then come back and read two or three books in a row and then leave it alone for another couple months and then come back but I mean, I think when I do read something all the way through, it's much more, you don't lose characters and plot points and stuff as much as you do. Like for
Yeah.
instance, Bound of the Broken right now, like I couldn't, I was having a hard time remembering which characters names and stuff were that. And I'm sure like when I get back to it, I'm gonna have to like go back and like read a synopsis or something because I'm sure I'm gonna have forgotten things, you
Yeah.
know.
He does a great job though. Although there's a lot of characters, um, like I took a short break in between this book two, and once I got in, I was like, oh okay, like that's what's happening. And he doesn't
Right.
he doesn't really summarize, but he puts you in the scene very well. And I don't know, like I enjoy the way Ryan writes.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, last question for you, Mike.
Okay.
Um, it's gonna be, I'm putting you on the spot again, but I want some recommendations from you. So, what's a one fantasy or sci-fi book rec that everyone watching should go read? It could be indie, it could be trad, um, and also, is there a person or personality in the book space that I should check out and follow? Maybe like something like a FanFi Addict or like anyone associated that you'd recommend me go check out their channel or social media.
Let's see. God, it's so hard because there's so many that I want to recommend,
I know,
right?
I know. I'm sorry for the.
No, no, it's fine. Let's see. I mean, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I just finished my co-host on Pen and Dragons book, Isaac Anderson. He wrote The Garden Maze, and it's a short little novella, but it's such an interesting book.
Okay.
It's kind of like, have you ever watched like a Guillermo del Toro movie, like Pan's Labyrinth or something like that?
No, and again, that's one of those that I've heard of. That's good, but I've
Or
not.
like or read something like Piranesi?
Oh,
I was
it's
gonna
on my
s-
shelf. It's on my shelf, but I haven't
okay.
read it.
So that very like dark fairy tale-esque kind of story,
Got it.
where it's like it's a soft sort of magic where there's no rules, things just kind of are vibes.
Yeah.
It's that sort of story, and in the modern landscape of fantasy, you run into a lot of like Brandon Sanderson style hard magic, right?
Got it.
Which is great and it's cool, it's fun, but I do really enjoy the occasional like, you know, magic is unexplainable.
Yeah.
You can't try really understand what's going on. It makes for a very interesting kind of change of pace.
Got it. Okay.
Um yeah, and as far as like people in the book space, again, man, there's so many good options. Oh gosh.
Wait, but before you tell me that, what's
Yeah.
the name of Isaac's book again?
Oh, The Garden Maze.
Okay, The Garden
Yeah.
Maze.
I just finished my other co-host book, Tim Roberts. He wrote The Flame of Almandraz,
The Flame of
and
Alma.
yeah, and that's a really good book as well. It's more of like a YA style Dragon Rider fantasy. So if you ever read like Aragon or um, Dragon Riders of Pern or something like that, it's a really good version of like a more modern version, I would say, of like that kind of book.
Okay. That's cool.
Very fast paced, very a lot of interesting, funny kind of banter going on. It's a really good book, and it's the start of a series. I know he's already got like Tim's a fast writer. He's already got like I think the next two books written.
Oh, nice.
So
That's
yeah,
cool.
if you're into that style of fantasy, that's definitely a good one to check out too.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. I wrote both down.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah.
As far as people in the book space, man, God, there's like I said, there's so many. I mean, Fanfi Addict is a great place to go check out if you just want book recommendations and you want to see, cool interviews. Their podcast is great. Our podcast is great. I'm going to plug
Yeah.
that, Pan and Dragon.
Yep.
Um, but no, there. If you want to learn more about like indie authors and what's going on in the author space, I will say, my friend Michael Vadney has a show called Author Adjacent,
Okay.
and you might have seen him around if you're in the space at all, but he has a really good show where he does interviews, and I've been on it, and pretty much every author I know and every indie author I know has been on his show.
Yeah.
He does a lot of really good stuff.
Okay.
PL has a really good show. He does Six Elements, I think it is. I'm supposed to be on that show sometime later this year.
Nice. Okay.
But yeah, there's a ton of them, man. There's so many great shows out there,
Okay.
and so many great like podcasts and all that stuff. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate you giving me those.
yeah,
Because I definitely
for
will
sure.
check it out after this. But okay, Mike, thank you so much for coming on. Again,
Yeah,
just so
absolutely.
people know, what is the Instagram handle again?
Mike Cahoon underscore author.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome. Okay, well,
and yeah, I'm on pretty much every social media. Another thing I was going to say real quick, if you have
yeah,
time,
that's okay.
I'm also so I'm supposed to be coming out with the next book in sometime at the end of this year,
Yeah.
but I'm also in an anthology series coming out called Rings of Adventure.
Okay.
It's a Kickstarter. We've got like 32 indie authors,
Oh
and we all
wow,
wrote short stories for this anthology.
that's so
Yeah.
cool.
uh, Almost every, I swear, so many indie authors I know are in this,
Yeah.
and it'll be launched. The Kickstarter will be launching on September 1st,
Okay.
and I know it's gonna end, and they're gonna send out books around December.
Okay.
So yeah, it'll be a whole book of short stories all written. I've got one in there.
Okay.
Both my co-hosts on Pen and Dragon have one in there. Yeah, it's a if you guys are looking for a way to check out a bunch of indie authors
Yep.
really quickly, that'd be a great way to do it.
Okay. Awesome. I just wrote it down. Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay. Thanks again. This was like amazing getting to talk to you. Thanks
yeah,
for
for sure.
reaching out on social media. I mean, this is how it's all made. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem. All right. See you guys.